Be calling you a radical. This is an important video, and so I'm going to talk about the coincidence of the drought, just the greatest drought in 1200 years. I'm the guy that named it. I named it before it happened. When the meltdowns happened at Fukushima, Japan, I hypothesized, look, these are full-blown out fucking meltdowns. How did I know that? Because this is the university that built it. I wrote paper after paper after paper here. I was an honor student here, young BIS science student. I knew that the Mach 1, Mach 2, which this university, which is General Electric, built. So I knew they couldn't handle a shake anywhere in the 7.5, 7.6. I knew the spent fuel pools couldn't handle even less than that. So I knew it was meltdowns. I knew the cores had fractured immediately. I wrote paper after paper after Mach 1, Mach 2, GE water boilers. I knew what they were. That's the lake right there. See that white? That was all, and I'll post the videos, as I've heavily documented the level of the Great Salt Lake since the 1960s with the spiral jetty. Since, 70. I was out there when they built it. And I have video after video every year, clear, long before Fukushima happened. You know, it was underwater. But my 2012 video is the most important. And the reason my 2012 video is the most important is because it shows the lake level at perfect levels. There was no drought until 2011, 2012. There was no wiped out tide pools. My tide pool worked in symphony with my Great Salt Lake work, in symphony with my Savin work. Now this is important. I was just down at the Wattis Art School. Yeah, that Wattis. That's the CEO of General Electric, E.O. Wattis, who died of leukemia just days after getting the contract to build Hoover Dam. They got this big environmental artist from Seattle. No less from Seattle. I just talked to him. Now you cannot make this up. I don't want to give this douchebag any credit, so I'm not even going to post anything, that pictures or anything, and I told him, you want to ruin your art career? Come here. Everybody knows it's AstroTurf, and it's a clicky ass club that nobody will see. You might have made a little bit of money on this. And I said, seriously, you're from Seattle, you're an environmentalist, artist, activist artist. Well, he's not an activist artist. Yeah. I'm an important one, he told me. Important. What about Fukushima? I will quote, oh, you mean clear over there in Japan? This is how ignorant. The bridge made it to fucking Gold Beach, Oregon in 6 days. A bridge, an entire bridge from the tsunami. So I hypothesized there'd be a heat bubble over the western United States. This would be a new energy, because we've never had full-blown out nuclear meltdowns. Never. In the history of the world. And if you think that my hypothesis is crazy, then you think that Einstein's work is crazy. And by the way, Einstein is who mentored me. I was completely 100% mentored by Einstein's work. Dr. Winterton, that's why I've walked the path that at a very young age. I had a dream when I was an 11-year-old boy. But I have been obsessed with Einstein's work since I was a little kid. And the more I learned, the more I realized, he said, this is Albert Einstein, and we'll quote, he said that there will come a time that this genie will get out of the bottle, we'll have a full core meltdown. And it will create an energy that we will unleash on the entire biosphere that we will have no clue what the hell it is. It will cause all kinds of madness, including viruses. That's Einstein's words, not mine. So I hypothesized when this happened that this would cause a heat bubble. Now remember when I used to go up on the top of the stadium right there? I have literally thousands. I used to go way up there on the foothills right there. I have hundreds and hundreds on YouTube of videos, and I slowly document it. I would go out there to to East Lake, shoot videos up the top there. Kaysville up there on the top of the knoll. And I document. Went out to the jetty. I have literally hundreds on YouTube. Hundreds. And so, heavily documented this. So in 2011, I'm like, Everybody laughed at me. Great Salt Lake is going to go dry. It's going to go dry. It's going to cause a heat bubble over the western United States. Now, if you look, I'll post that map. That map was built coming out. I didn't even build that map. Somebody else made that I don't even know that watches my videos. Coming out of my mouth just within a month of Fukushima. And I said it's going to cause a heat bubble over the western United States. I said on March 12th, these are full-blown out meltdowns. I continued to go on. I had radio shows. I was everywhere. I was all over. It's going to give you cancer. I got cancer in 2011. Wanted to do a bone marrow. Almost died. I said first will go the tide pools. Immediately the sponges will go. I was right. I says the salmon, the stillhead will start to collapse in 2011, 2012 because they go to sea 1 to 2 years. I was right. I said the Chinook will not collapse until 2016. By the way, we had record returns on the Chinook in 2011, 12, 13, 14, 15. Everybody was laughing at me. Did they collapse in 2016? Epically unbelievable. So we can run regressionary models, kid. Statistical probability. We could plug it all in because we have the salmon. By the way, the Deschutes, wow, we got a big return. It's heavy into the season. We have 12 in the Deschutes right now, 12. So the heat bubble over the western United States. So I, Kevin Blanche, am the one who named it the Great North American Western Drought. I named it in 2011, 2012. I hypothesized it. I document. That's what a great PhD does. A great PhD. This is the greatest PhD in human. Now look, I went rogue with my PhD. I knew Aaron Swartz personally, and the reason I went rogue because the J Store, when they captured, you know, they've captured all the PhDs in the in the world. Aaron Swartz, that's what he did. He unloaded. Why would they be at MIT? Why would Abe, the Prime Minister of Japan, be forced out and propped up? And why would his first trip here, first Japanese PM trip here in 40 years, why would he go to MIT Media Lab? Why would Edward Snowjob and Greenwald hand the chip to the MIT Media Endowment chair? The Mar-a-Lago. I just read through it. It's all, don't even waste your time. There are literally, out of the 38 pages, I think 28 of them are completely retracted. So don't waste your time. You see nothing. Just like when Hillary's emails. Don't go outside, take it. Who do you think put those in the domain? The retractions after that. From March, late March to deep into April, they're all retracted. They're all Fukushima. How do I know? Oh, I know. I know. Transcript from inside the Situation Room. Oh, it's out there. The heat bubble, Kevin Blanche just hypothesized the greatest drought in 1,200 years. The fires. I'm the first guy that hypothesized that. I stood right there. It's going to cause, inside the pine needles. Remember when I was walking the coast of California dying of cancer in 2013, 14, 15? And I was saying it's going to kill all the pines because they hold radiation. It's going to get into the pines and it's going to cause a heat bubble, which I named Fuktonium fires, a country of deniers. I named Fuktonium. I'm the first guy that hypothesized that. I'm the first guy that documented it. Documented the dead tide pools you're looking at. Documented the salmon club. The trees burning. Everybody laughed. Then they were like, oh, it's beetles, and they finally come out, no. I'm the first guy that started to visualize it, document it, after I hypothesized. First you hypothesized, and I was saying, this is the greatest PhD in human history on multiple layers. Do you realize, oh, Trump says rake up the forest. Do you realize how much of the United States West post-2011 this decade is burned? Joe, 14 to 15% of every square inch of the state of California is burned. Oh, Ray, it's just California? Do you know how much is burned of Idaho? Do you know how much is burned in Colorado? Do you know how much is burned in Utah? Rake up the forest in Idaho, rake up the forest in Colorado, Texas, the whole western heat bubble, as hypothesized by Kevin Blanche, is going to cause a heat source. Let's see. They pushed it into the Pacific Ocean after day 6. Hello, kids. Storms rise up. The jet stream moves left or right. I just told that guy, really? You just told me that? Clear over there in Japan? And you're an environmentalist and a so-called artist. Do you even know what the jet stream is? Do you even know what the Japanese current is? The Japanese current flows directly to Oregon, Seattle, and it splits and goes into the California current. I remember talking to a surfer this year in California, talking about why the cold water has moved in. There's so many drowns this year. I said, the California current's in. It's in close this year. Born and raised, California surfer. What's the California? Artist at the Water School of Art, environmental artist. I'm a butcher, what's a cow? I'm a baker, what's a cake? I'm a football player, what's a goalpost? I'm an environmental artist, activist, PhD, science professor at Weber State University, zoologist at Weber State University, EPA, what is Fukushima? The drought. I was asked to do this video, so I just did it. It's unarguable. Look, I will quote Dr. Winterton to me when I was a boy. I was a 16-year-old honor student on this university. Too young, and I do not believe in early college. Don't do it. Don't do it. That was way too young. Busting me up here in the 60s and 70s. Don't do it. Coincidence doesn't get it in science. We're going to chalk it all up to coincidence. Coincidence does not get it in science. In fact, it's counterintuitive to science. In fact, it's fraud. If anybody's calling them a scientist, or artist for that matter, or professor, what I honestly believe, there should be a tribunal. Everybody's covered up. If you're a PhD and you're a professor at a University of Science and you have freaking gone along and ignored it, it's fraud. You know, they should turn in their PhDs. They should turn in every dime that the state has paid them. It's fraud. At least they should be put in prison for years. EPA, freaking everybody. Gene McCarthy, Linda Jackson, Scotty Pruitt, Donald Trump, Barack Obama, Joe Biden. Anybody who's in. Where does the buck stop? Fukushima is the greatest ecological catastrophe in human history. And you're trying to tell me that all science is done, it's not new, and you want to chalk this up to coincidence. Let's review. Post the meltdowns, Kevin Blanch hypothesis, tide pools will go. Heavily documented, tide pools went down 99%, acutely. That's what we call an outliner in science, in statistics. I was a finance professor. I was an artist, still am. Probably the most important environmental artist who ever lived. I'm an environmentalist artist at the Water School of Art in Utah. Who's Kevin Blanch? I'm a butcher, what's a cow? I'm a baker, what's a cake? Tide pools go, just like Kevin Blanch said. Salmon still had collapsed, just 99% on most rivers. We count them all. Steelhead, or Chinook salmon won't class to 20 because they go to sea on average of 5 years. On cue, 2016. I mean, mega wipeout. Most rivers down 99, 96, 98, 97%. On cue, radical collapse. The heat bubble over the western ice sheets. My spiral. Fuck, this is the greatest PhD in multiple levels, and I get no fun. I'm in absolute fucking lived in poverty. Talk about the starving artist. I think about it. I got cancer, and I did all this while in critical condition, given 2 months to live almost 11 years ago. Open heart surgery, chemo wore my valve, lost my teeth, my gallbladder ruptured, kicked off Medicaid, attacked viciously. I will quote Albert Einstein again, my mentor. Anybody who came after Einstein, you know, and I appreciate their work. I like those guys' work. But I'm Einstein's protege. Albert Einstein. All new knowledge will be persecuted. All new knowledge will be persecuted. It's new. It's causing, and you want to chalk this all up to coincidence? Overwhelming, unarguable evidence. The heat bubble, I grew up on the Great Salt Lake. I live right next to it. It's right behind my fucking house on the historic marsh. I grew up on it. Literally on the fucking farm, on the ranch there. Literally, I fucking born and raised. I still live there. I watched this acute catastrophe happen like that. And I documented it with a YouTube camera. It's just fire. It's just the wheel. It's just YouTube. And now they can kettle the knowledge. I invented. How many terms you figure I've invented? How many? Thousands. What's her name? I ran into the oldest story, Susan. She says, Kevin Blanch, I gotta tell you, you're wit. I haven't talked to her in years and years. Fuck, the words and the terms and the cliches that you come up with blow my mind. How many do you think I've come up with? Thousands. Thousands. You know, Mark Twain. Shakespeare. No person spite that I was ever born to sip this breath. I got some nuclear brew for you, and I got some for me. I lost my fucking leukemia survivor bracelet. Where's your crown? The heat bubble of the Western United States. The collapse of the tide pools. The collapse of the fucking salmon. Not to mention longevity headed south starting in 2012 in this country for the first time in fucking hundreds of years. 200 and something years. Not coincidence. There's an outline. You can plug in regressionary models, you can run statistical regression, and that outliner will. There's no bias. It's not opinionated. You plug it in because we don't count dead tide pools. Kevin Blanche does. We don't count dead humans in bone marrow transplant centers. Oh, Kevin Blanche does almost one. We count every fucking salmon, all of them, with sonar, all of it, and that's just by number, not by weight. Plug it in. Run your regressionary models. Take the bias out. And it will deviate from the mean thousands of times. The smoke will come out of your fucking computer. And it will immediately go to 2011. So then we have to start looking for the culprit. It's unarguable. It's unarguable there's an outlier in 2011. It's unarguable science. So we have to look for the culprit. Something radical, crazy happened. The Great Pacific Genocide, as I named it in 2012. In 2011 or 2011. What happened? Did 9 million Exxon Valdez? This guy's got oil barrels and whatever. I says Exxon Valdez. What about Fukushima? Oh, you mean clear of there in Japan? Here's my best one, I think. You know, my grandfather, my great-great-grandparents, they're from Denmark. His name's Christian Hansen. My real last name would be Nicholson. The Blanche name's adopted all of us Blanches. Historic name around here. Dr. Blanche saved me from the grave. Don't let them open that. They're going to kill you, Kevin. That's my uncle. The nuclear energy emperors. They have no fucking clothes. Plutonium. Come up with another good one today. Plutonium, not plutonium. Plutonium, but the nuclear energy emperors have no clothes. If you think my work's all fucked up, then you think Einstein's work's all fucked up. You know, and I still look back on him. I read everything he ever wrote. I read everything he did when I was a kid. I was like, he's the fucking greatest. All over. And he was the best anti-nuclear activist, anti-nuclear there ever lived. Was Albert Einstein. Hell of a way to boil water. Kevin Blanche. March 12, 2011. Time is. Touchdown, Hail Mary. Hell of a way to boil water. The drought. I'm the guy that fucking named it. I get no credit for my story. None. Again, Albert Einstein. Only football stadium in the world named after a woman. She left $750 million here on the merger in 1975. You know, what merger? GE and Utah Construction. They built the reactors at Fukushima. Looks just like reactors back there. Looks like just like the ones at the Big Z, don't it? Don't it? It's perfect. Go Weber State football, by the way. We love those guys, and we love Jay Hill. He's come in. Athletic department. I'm not a fan of this university. I like the new president, but the people that run this show, pathetic. Not the football team. We love those guys. You know, Jay Hill's the man around here. What he's been able to do. So, anyway, world record holder. I showed Damian Lillard this right to his face. She never got the first gold medal. By the way, the only reason you got a gold medal in those Japan Olympics, I told him, aren't those little kids making your slave mate deer's fingers getting tired? Because he's got a boy-girl twin now. I'm a boy-girl twin. I'm a mutation from birth. My father died of this disease after being nuked in the Nevada test site. Where's your fucking crown? Where's your crown? Where's your crown? I mean, honestly, this is the first gold medal at this university. The only reason he's got one is Rudy Gobert couldn't make a free throw. Dead tide pool jumping. Bob Beamon Blanche. Not to mention my salmon work, my heat bubble. Remember I used to stand right there at the top of the stadium? They won't let me in there now. Because this is a nuclear university. Again, they're having a show there, and he's an environmentalist. They're having a show. I just talked to him, and I'm not giving this douchebag any fucking credit, because that's what he is. I says, oh, you're an environmentalist artist. I says, you're looking at probably the most famous one in history. I said, well, at least since Michelangelo. Well, from Seattle. Well, I live up there. You know, I'm not from there, but we'll work out of there. Oil, huh? Oil, huh? Did you know about Fukushima? The nuclear meltdowns at Fukushima? Yeah. Oh, well, that's clear over there in Japan. What's the jet stream? I mean, the ignorant art is pathetic, by the way. Artists, there's nothing worse than ignorant art. Jackson Pollock was a genius. Andy Warhol was a fucking genius. Ignorant art. It's the worst, right? It's the worst. It's pathetic. I told him, you know everybody knows this is AstroTurf. This is the nuclear. You know who you're working for. Well, I says, you do know every single person ever has a show. Nobody comes. It's a little click. I'll play it and I'll give you some money. But, you know, this is where our careers come to die. Because everybody knows. I mean, I'm so glad that you know, I got offered in the MoMA a little bit. It started to work there for a while when I was protesting. It looked like I was going to get a show in the MoMA. Thank God I didn't. This here on the New York City MoMA, and if you don't believe me, you look up Jeffrey Black. They're all Epsteiners. Look up Dubin. Not to be confused with Jeffrey Toobin. Dubin. Uncle Jeffrey coming over. They're the gatekeepers of the MoMA. Thank God I never got in. The greatest American artist who was fucking brilliant. Brilliant. That's Grant Wood. Do you know he got cancer at 51 years old? AML leukemia, the same age that I did, and it killed him? American. How about that piece of art? What a piece of art. Lori and I, with that original old pitchfork in front of the St. Michael's next to the ocean in Carlsbad, California. Shannon, how brilliant is that? American Toxic. So there you have it. I was asked to do it. There's the lake right there. See that white right over there? It's an epic collapse. The molded grapes of wrath. I could go on for a year just talking about the work that I've done. I've done the work of 1,000 PhDs, 1,000 activists, and I get no fucking credit. And I live in abject fucking poverty. Again, Albert Einstein. All great new knowledge will be persecuted. That's who mentored me. That's who mentored me. Stay tuned.